Hello, hello! Today we have another palette for the quest for yellow. This is the Flora palette from Beaute. I actually ended up buying this palette when it originally came out just this year. This just came out in April. So I've had this palette since April, and in case anyone has noticed at all, my past few videos that I've done, I've kept to a very autumn palette, a very October, fall palette, November colors, like warm, cozy as we're going into winter. And I feel like yellows are part of fall, so I decided to check this palette out finally. This is what the outside is. It's very pretty, very simplistic. I love how yellow it is. You turn it around, you have your ingredients and information, and then inside, this is the actual palette. The actual palette, allegedly, right? These are supposed to be real flowers in here. Those are real flowers in there. I've turned the light off overhead, and I've turned on one of my little small lamps that I got over here. Hopefully that helps, so there's not much of a glare. But this is the palette. It's so pretty. You see, you've got Flora right here. There's nothing on the back. This one down here is just a light yellow. So quite different to the outside packaging. As always, there is a mirror in this one, but we got a nice pretty design. But we're gonna cover it up just so that there's no glare. And this is the actual palette. At first glance, I absolutely knew I had to get this palette because there was a nice, good range. One of my main complaints that I usually make in my quest for yellow is that I'll have lots of yellows, but nothing to deepen up the look. I think that's also really important. It's important to have all these yellows, but it's also important to have shades that deepen up the looks and gives it a bit more range, so it's not just yellow, 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 as we saw recently in the makeup obsession video I did with I think it was the Sunshine Makes Me Happy palette. We have this, which I think does a pretty decent job. The majority of the colors in here, I would argue, are yellow. So we have this yellow gold here. We have a mustard yellow here. We have a light yellow shimmer with some kind of like green iridescent color in there, which makes it really nice because it also adds this other layer of a different color. It's not just a light yellow, it's a light yellow with green little speckles in it. We have this over here, what I could call like a canary yellow. It's very bright. And then this is a gold. I'm going to try my best to describe it. It's a gold with like a red base, but then also with some green shimmer in it. And we'll see that when I swatch it. And I feel like you could argue these right here, these are our yellows, these are our golds. And then we have a brown, just a warm brown, and then we have a red brown, kind of like a brick brown, and a dark brown. I always feel like a dark brown is missing from these yellow palettes, so it's really great to see that in there. So color story wise, when I saw this, I was pretty happy. I was like, okay, let's see where we're going with that. Now we'll go back and forth with these. I really like the design, but even with that being said, I don't usually like to take my brush and use a pen, go back and forth with a brush. I usually like to do small circles. I don't know if that's better or worse necessarily to be using a brush going back and forth, but I like the circles, or I like the square pans, because that allows me to do circles. I don't usually like to go back and forth, but that's just me. I don't think it necessarily stopped me from using the color. It did feel like sometimes that my brush was a little too big to fit in the pan, and that the hairs of the brush was going outside of the pan, but overall not too big of an issue. Something I did also want to mention is, I don't know if it was me. It doesn't appear, let's see, it doesn't seem like these shadows don't have names, they're just numbered. The first time I used this dark brown, I had issues trying to blend it out. It was pretty patchy. I could place it, but I could not blend it out with, I think it was the brown. I tried to deepen up this brown in my outer corner and I couldn't do it. And then I created a second look, but using the red brown with the dark brown, and then it did work. So I don't know if maybe I was just having an off day, if maybe I just didn't do something right, and maybe it was just me, I don't know. But I did want to mention there might be some difficulty with this one, but otherwise, I don't think I really had many issues using any of these other colors. Something I don't regularly mention, but I should probably start mentioning, is sometimes shades, specifically with shimmers, because I love shimmers, it seems like sometimes you kind of need to break through the top to get to the real color and pigment. So the first kind of brush strokes that I do on like these shimmers, maybe it's not as intense and as pretty and as smoothed out as I like it, but I kind of just keep moving it around, keep kind of digging, and eventually I get the pigment and the color and the shimmer that I want. So you can tell, I feel like, if you look at these, like I kind of dug in a little deep in there, but that's because I wanted the real color to come out. I feel like the initial brush in was too light for me. So there is kind of like a top layer, if you will, that you kind of have to fight through, but after that I think these applied really pretty. The yellows, you can I felt like on my skin tone, you could definitely tell the difference between this kind of more mustard yellow and this brighter yellow, which is really nice because sometimes the yellows that are put into palettes, they're much too similar, especially on the eye. And at that point, it's like, what's the point of having all these yellows if they're all going to look exactly the same on my eye? So that's really nice. I really like when yellows are the lighter shimmers, which they've done here, and then you got your darker mattes. That's exactly the way that I apply my makeup, and I really love that. Overall, do recommend this palette, absolutely. I think this is a nice little fun palette with yellows, and you don't even have to do just yellows. I can't wait to show you guys this color right here. I think the last look I did, I believe I might have used just these three. I was like, wow, I've created a look from a yellow majority palette, and it doesn't even look yellow. Like, that could be a positive, that could be a negative, but I was really surprised. I was like, this isn't just a yellow palette. There's so much more variety in here, and I'm so excited to swatch these. I'm going to swatch all three shimmers for you guys so you can see. This palette is so pretty. This is the first Ace Beaute palette that I bought. Not the first one that I tried, but it is the first one that I bought. And I can see why this this collection was so popular. I don't know, there's just something about this collection from Ace Beaute specifically where I'm like, okay, I get it. I see why everyone wanted to buy this palette. This palette was $20. I believe I got some money off of it. We are during the end of November, so there's a lot of Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales going on right now. So you might be able to catch this still on sale, but usually this palette retails for $20. Alright, so these are the three shimmer shades all swatched. So we'll see. Okay, so this is the one that I was talking about that has the red base. We'll see how these swatch. Very pretty. Hope you can see that shimmer in there. This, now that I'm reapplying it, the light yellow in here is kind of almost more of a topper, it feels like. The light yellow definitely feels like a much drier formula, but still very pretty. I think that you could use that light yellow one even as kind of like an emergency shimmer. And then we have the gold here. And I think the gold is pretty standard, a pretty standard gold. Like I said, I really had to dig into these, but once I did, I think these came out beautiful. You can see how shiny they are. Look at that shine. Let me move my light. Maybe you can see a little bit more. Look at that. See if I can get it to focus. I'm not sure if you can catch that reflective green in these two, but I do like the touch of green because I feel like it adds more dimension to these colors, and I love that they've added just, you know, a very simple gold shade in here. These might not be the best swatches I've ever done, but I think they're a good middle ground. They're not unnoticeable. You're not like, where's the shimmer, where's the sparkle? But they're not super intense like the Beauty Base shimmers that I recently just swatched. I think they're a good middle. I think if you keep applying a little bit more, you can reach the intensity or softness that you're looking for. But these are very pretty shimmers. I do like them. Okay, now here I have the two yellows. The two matte yellows are in this palette, and the darkest brown. I think that the brown and the red brown in here are pretty standard, not much difference, but I wanted to show you guys if the actual visual difference of one yellow to the other. They're definitely quite pigmented. I feel like there's a lot of yellows where you apply it and it instantly just kind of turns into an invisibility eyeshadow because they don't appear. So I did have to build them up a bit, but I have absolutely no issue having to go back in and to build it up. Hopefully you can see the difference. You can see here that this yellow is a bit more orange leaning almost in a way, and this one's quite a bit lighter. It's more mustardy looking. And I think they're very pretty, and look how intense this brown is. Let's put that there. Whoop. Look at that brown. Nice intense brown to deepen up all your looks. That's a nice dark brown. This is a really cute little simple palette. I think it's very travel friendly. I like the range of colors in here. I did buy 2 of these palettes from this collection. I believe the other one I have is Begonia, which is the red boxed palette. So I'm excited to see what looks I can create with that one, but this one is so pretty. I think this is Yellow Quested approved. Look at this. This is definitely a yellow palette for your collection. So you'll have a great day.